What drives a person or leader to be successful? There is one personal attribute that is at the foundation of individual and leader success, and subsequently, organizational success. This personal attribute has been studied for almost 30 years, yet it is just now coming to the forefront of organizational science and practice. This personal attribute is not emotions, moods, attitudes, personality, or intelligence. We've been around the block a few times with these attributes. The personal attribute that I am referring to is mindsets. There's mounting evidence that mindsets are our most important personal attribute in terms of influence on one's physiology, thinking, learning, and performance. Let me give you a couple of examples. In one study, researchers found that when a group of employees' mindsets were shifted to believe that they get exercise through their daily work, they lost weight, lost body fat, and had reduced blood pressure when compared to another group whose mindsets were held constant. In a second study, researchers found that when employees were shown a 3-minute video demonstrating that stress is enhancing, they reported fewer negative health symptoms and higher levels of engagement and performance compared to those shown a 3-minute video demonstrating that stress is debilitating. So what exactly are mindsets? Mindsets are our brain's and body's fuel filter. Every day we're exposed to near infinite number of stimuli. Our mindsets filter these stimuli such that we take in and absorb only the information that our mindsets deem critical. What information then comes through the filter is what fuels the matter in which we think, learn, and operate. Something unique about mindsets is that they are relatively easy to change, even a 3-minute video. But once changed, the new mindsets become a relatively stable part of ourselves. This means that small interventions that name the mindset and articulate its power can almost instantly alter the information fueling one's thinking, learning, and operation. So if you are wanting to change your mindsets or the mindsets within your organization, you first need to be able to name the mindsets. Until you put a label on them, you have little direction and little focus. Next, you need to be able to address the 2 essential elements associated with change. What is in it for me? And proof beyond reasonable doubt. If these 2 elements are clearly understood, change naturally occurs. But to be able to articulate what's in it for me and proof beyond reasonable doubt, we need to understand the power of mindsets. So what I want to do is identify 4 mindset pairings. Each pairing will include a common but problematic mindset and an opposite mindset that is more conducive to success. Then, in the form of case studies, I want to articulate the power of each mindset as a way to demonstrate what is in it for you and proof beyond reasonable doubt. The first set of mindsets are called fixed and growth mindsets. When Larry took a job at Rise High Advertising, he had a fixed mindset. This meant that he saw his and others' intelligence and abilities as being fixed. With this mindset, he believed that he needed to hire top talent because developing talent was pointless. Further, with this mindset, Larry was preoccupied with looking smart and being seen as successful. This was because any hint of failure would suggest that he was not top talent. Now, Larry's track record was good. So when he met with his boss, he was caught off guard when he realized that his fixed mindset filter had some limitations. Through this performance evaluation, he learned that because of his fixed mindset, his fear of failure led him to take on only low-risk, low-reward projects, as opposed to higher-risk, higher-reward projects. As a result, his decision-making was stifling the growth of his division. Second, he came across to his colleagues as unteachable. Since he saw himself as a high-talent individual, he seemed reluctant to learn from challenges and those he worked with, stunting his growth and development. Third, he was reluctant to invest in his employees' development, and in the instances where his employees did demonstrate development, he was not open to recognizing such development. Larry's poor performance review led him to ask the question, is there a better mindset? The answer to his question is yes. That mindset is called a growth mindset. Growth mindset individuals see intelligence and abilities as things that can be developed. As Larry learned about and began to possess a growth mindset, he began to change. He became a different leader. For example, he began to see challenges as opportunities for personal learning and organizational growth, as opposed to hurdles to his success. He began to see that his success was more than just proving he was smart or top talent. It was about becoming better, becoming more. And rather than consistently seeking to be the smartest man in the room, he sought to make everybody in the room, department, and organization smarter. In summary, Larry started his job with a fixed mindset, where his fixed mindset filter led him to be focused on his power and greatness. But after his blunt but honest performance review, he began to see that a change in mindset was needed. As he switched from a fixed to a growth mindset, his growth mindset filter led him to be focused on his growth, his teammates, and their journey together. The second set of mindsets are called open and closed mindsets. Anna has been with her consulting company for 20 years. After 5 years with the organization, she was put in charge of developing an engagement survey that the organization could consult around. Over the next few years, Anna did an extensive amount of work and research to develop the engagement survey. During this time, she had an open mindset. She took in ideas from all levels within the organization and from a variety of experts outside the organization. Additionally, while she was open to the ideas of others, she was also critical of those ideas, seeking to identify the pros and cons of each. She did not want to fall victim to personal or organizational biases. The process was eventually a success. Through much effort, critical thinking, and effective problem solving, Anna was able to come up with an engagement survey that would spur great growth for the organization. But once the project was finalized, something changed in Anna. Anna developed a closed mindset. This mindset's filter focused her efforts solely on the success and viability of the product and allowed her to persist in the face of obstacles for over 10 years. But during this time, there were multiple other products and surveys that were pitched to help the organization grow. Whenever the products or surveys were pitched, Anna's closed mindset prevented her from taking the pitches seriously because they competed with the survey that she designed, and her closed mindset prevented her from critically reevaluating the survey that she had designed relative to the newly pitched products. Because her opinions carried great weight within the organization never accepted any of the new product pitches. A common consequence of this was that those who pitched product ideas eventually left the organization for competing consulting firms. Reflecting back on the prior 10 years, the organization now recognizes that Anna's product led the organization to become a household name. But over the past couple of years, market evidence suggests that the product is growing increasingly stale, and the company doesn't have any innovative or current products in the works. In summary, when individuals have an open mindset, they are open to the ideas of others. They think critically and avoid common decision-making biases. Conversely, while those closed-minded individuals often excel in terms of effort and persistence, they are closed to the ideas of others and commonly fall victim to decision-making biases. The third set of mindsets are called promotion and prevention mindsets. Let me introduce you to Kevin and LJ. Kevin and LJ are both mid-level sales managers hired at the same time. They both lead teams with the same number of people and in very similar territories. Their teams also have performed similarly until each were hired. The primary difference between the two teams is that their managers, Kevin and LJ, each possess different mindsets. Kevin possesses a promotion mindset. This means that his mindset filter is focused on winning and gains. Thus, he's focused on the goals, hopes, ideals, and aspirations of the organization and his employees. Using an analogy, his primary motives involves making sure that his ship or his team is always making progress towards the destination. LJ, on the other hand, possesses a prevention mindset. This means that his mindset filter is focused on not losing. As such, he is concerned with the duties and obligations of his team hitting their sales goals, and also their security and safety. Using an analogy, he is less concerned about his ship reaching a destination and more concerned about making sure the ship or his team doesn't encounter any problems and stays afloat. Given the similarity of these two teams and their environments, we would expect these teams to perform similarly. But if these examples were to play out according to research on these mindsets, nothing could be further from the truth. What we would find is that Kevin's team, who possesses a promotion mindset, would have significantly higher levels of engagement and job satisfaction, higher levels of task and innovative performance, and higher levels of organizational citizenship behaviors. The primary benefit of LJ as a manager who has a prevention mindset is only that his team would have lower safety incidence rates. In summary, whether individuals, managers, or leaders are focused on their work as opportunities to achieve or as an obligation has a huge impact on their work environment and employee performance. The fourth set of mindsets are called inward and outward mindsets. This is my favorite case study. Benjamin Zander is the founder and director of Boston Philharmonic Orchestra. During the first 20 years of his career, he was the stereotypical conductor that possessed an inward mindset. This meant that his mental filter was honed in on his experiences and his successes. This was manifested in the fact that he saw himself as being superior to those he led. Further, his primary concern had not only been whether his audience appreciated his interpretation of the music, but if truth be told, he was especially concerned about whether the critics liked his interpretations. This was his primary concern because he felt that if the critics liked his music, it might lead to other opportunities and greater success. This type of leadership led to his musicians having a working environment with a satisfaction level just below that of prison guards. But Benjamin had an epiphany that dramatically changed his leadership, his influence on his musicians, and the environment in which they operated in. This epiphany was that while he was the face of his orchestra, he actually didn't play a note. After realizing this, he took on an outward mindset. This change meant that he went from seeing his players as being instruments of his will to being conduits for the full realization of the possibility of music. From asking himself, "How good am I?" to "What makes a group lively and engaged?" From trying to gain influence over his players to teach them his interpretations, to shifting his attention to how he could help his musicians play each phrase as beautifully as they were capable. The difference this change made was tangible. His musicians' posture and demeanors changed. They became engaged. They went from being jaded and disaffected to being tender and ardent lovers of music. Before I identified these 4 sets of mindsets, it is likely that you have never heard of most, if not all, of these mindsets. While you inherently understand the benefits of having a growth, open, promotion, and outward mindsets, you likely have not had a label for such mindsets. Not having a label has prevented you from being able to focus on and develop such mindsets. So there's power in just naming or labeling these mindsets. But we also need to understand what's in it for me and proof beyond reasonable doubt. I hope that by learning about Larry, Anna, Kevin, LJ, and Benjamin Zander, you can see what is in it for you and the difference these mindsets can have on how you think, you learn, and you operate. In terms of proof beyond reasonable doubt, all of the information that I have provided is backed by decades of research. The findings are both reliable and conclusive. Relatively small interventions that change mindsets have huge effects. In all, let me encourage you to change your mindsets from being fixed to growth, from closed to open, prevention to promotion, and inward to outward. As you do, you will think, learn, and operate in ways that are more conducive to personal and organizational success.